Hey, it's Dean. Welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to talk real quick about a mistake that I made with a specific thing I've been doing. With putting the engine and everything back in, I try to keep track of all the wires and where the wiring went back in, where they attached to all of the different sensors and stuff on the engine and transmission. One of the things that I didn't do right, the one main thing I didn't do right, that I found when I went to start the engine for the first initial test on dry land, boats up on a trailer, was to put it in gear and see if the engine would crank over in gear, telling me whether the neutral safety switch was wired correctly, and it wasn't. So the engine started right up with the transmission spinning in any gear, so it started in neutral, drive, or reverse. So you have to be careful and just understand that the power coming from the switch when you go into the starter side of the switch, in other words, you turn it beyond ignition on, then go to the starter, that the power goes to the neutral safety switch first, and goes through that. That way it tests to see that the transmission is actually in neutral before it allows the electricity to transfer across the switch and then out into the starter. That way you don't have a situation where you're in the water and you have people in the water around it. You go to start the damn thing and the thing wants to start with it in gear, and people get hurt that way. So just going to make sure when you wire things, and what I had done is actually had it mixed up so I had no power going into the neutral safety switch. I had the power going directly to the starter. So I just took that starter wire off and put it onto the neutral safety switch instead, and then moved that other wire back over to the starter. So again, power from the switch should go to the neutral safety switch first. So that's the initial test for whether the controls are in gear or not. Whether it be forward or reverse, must be in neutral. Has to be in neutral. So once you're in neutral, and that transmission and that linkage is on the transmission itself, hits the neutral, it should fire off. It should do the initial test to say, okay, power is here. Test whether the transmission is in drive or not. If it is not, power goes to the starter, cranks the engine over, it runs, and it sits there and idles because it's not in gear. Other than that, it's going to make it. It's going to make it try to start in gear, and we don't want to do that. So one of the initial things I did wrong, didn't test it, but I put it together and then I tested it that way before I went in the water and found it that prop was spinning as soon as I tried to crank it over. So anyway, just something to keep an eye on. Pretty easy fix, pretty easy to make the mistake. But initially, if you're just taking and changing something individually, just changing a neutral safety switch because the boat won't start or whatever reason that the switch is failing, you wouldn't have that situation. But putting an engine back in means I have all the wires disconnected, so I have the option of messing them up really bad, and I did. Anyway, good talking. This is my video for the day. Thanks. See ya. Bye.